Be still and know that I am God. That's in the book of Psalms, the 46th chapter, the 10th verse. This, my friend, is a popular verse for comforting ourselves and others. Many people tend to think this verse means to rest or relax in who God is. It is one of the most famous verses in the Bible. We put it on our posters. We write it on cards. We say it during times of turmoils. We long to feel this type of deep and lasting peace. Yet, if we are honest, we have trouble living it. We are rarely still. We rarely sleep without tossing and turning. And we hardly ever live sold out that God is God and we are not. And this is the reason why I am sharing this message with you on how you can be still and know that God is God. I know that there are very challenging times, but they don't have to be overwhelming. As people of God, our perspective should be shaped less by what we see around us and more by our faith in God Almighty. There was no one more challenged than Jesus himself, who, while in the Garden of Gethsemane, fell with his face to the ground in anguish over his situation, yet he was able to keep going because of his faith in God. No matter the situation, it gets down to one important question. Do I really believe that God is in control? Like the psalmist said, we must know that God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear though the earth gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of her, she shall not be moved. God will help her when morning dawns. The nations rage, the kingdoms totter. He utters his voice, the earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come, behold the works of the Lord, how he has brought desolations on the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the chariots with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Why is the psalmist making such a proclamation about God? It is important to know that no matter the turmoil and the turbulence that occurs around us, the glory and the majesty of God's power is above all what happens around us. I have seen that we live in a complex and trouble-filled world where we often find ourselves faced with threatening problems far beyond our control. These gathering storms can suddenly break upon our lives and make it impossible for us to escape. They are beyond our ability to resolve and consequently bring us to our knees. God then steps into the scene and rescues us from our hour of crisis. Surely you can relate to times like this in your life. Beloved, according to Psalms, the 46th chapter, we must pause and reflect upon what God has done. We must look back and marvel at his salvation in a new and more profound way. We must consider who God is and how this truth spreading can affect the world. This, my friend, is exactly how God counseled his ancient people of Israel after he defeated their enemies and spared their lives. He called to them saying, cease striving and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. In this verse, God himself is the speaker. He personally summons them to contemplate who he is and how his mighty acts will be made known to the world. Beloved, what has troubled you recently? What has caused your heart to despair? Have you seen God deliver you out of your ordeals? Have you seen him reverse your setbacks and bring you through it? Beloved, whenever we encounter chaos in our daily lives, God is firm, solid, secure, and unmovable. He is a very present help. not a distant, aloof God who cannot be concerned with our everyday troubles of life, because God is our refuge, strength, and help. We do not have to fear when our world falls apart and we are overwhelmed with the broken situations around us. Instead of being on the ground encircled by our problems and fears, we can go up to the fortress of God and look down at them, because God is our fortress. Not only do we get safety, security, and rest from the chaos, but we also get perspective, wisdom, and clarity. Paul, my friend, was in prison, yet still able to rejoice in his life. Why so joyful? He refused to be controlled by his circumstances. He had a different perspective on life and an inner vision that came only from his intimacy with God. Peter also had a good perspective on this as well, and so he says in 1 Peter, the 5th chapter, the 7th verse, he says, "Cast all your anxiety on him, because he cares for you." Beloved, the Lord wants me to tell you to cease complaining and being distressed. He is saying, stop and ponder what he has done for you. Do not let this time pass without giving careful thought to your deliverance out of the many troubles he has delivered you from. As you are watching this today, beloved, in the same verse of Psalms, the 46th chapter, the 10th verse, God further spoke, saying, "And know that I am God." The word "and" that is used connects these two ideas together. Though the first looks negative, it is followed by this positive directive, which is to know that God is God. The order is important. If you will cease worrying and striving, you will know that God is God in all that encompasses around you. Child of God, you need to cease worrying and know that God is upon his throne. You need to know that God has a sovereign plan and purpose for you. Again, know that he will work everything together for your good. Beloved, you need to know that there is no panic in heaven. Know that God has everything under control. The most important knowledge that anyone can possess is this knowledge of God. All other knowledge is of far lesser importance, a far distant second. The knowledge of God is far greater, and it is supreme. All other knowledge is peripheral. The knowledge of God is primary, and it is this knowledge that can sustain us in whatever we may face in this life. This means far more than to know that he exists. We must know that God actively rules over all places and people with wisdom and irresistible power. God continues to be seated on his lofty throne of sovereignty, raised up over every circumstance. Upon his head are many diadems, as the book of Revelations describes him. In his right hand he upholds his scepter, by which he rules the nations. He is lifted up, my friend, high above the trials and tribulations that threaten us. From his exalted position, God is causing all things to work together for your good. Therefore, my friend, let us take great comfort from this reassuring truth that the Lord reigns, and be still in whatever we go through, knowing for a surety that the Lord will see us through whatever life presents to us. No matter what life may throw at you, my friend, no matter what hardship or problem you may face, no matter how hard the solution may seem to be, God will make a way, even when there seems to be no way. Beloved, be still, because in the stillness is when you will hear what exactly God is saying and doing. You, my friend, cannot be talking and listening at the same time, and that is why you need to be still and know that the Lord is God. Be still, my brother. Be still, my sister. Be still and know that God is God. The greatest blessing we receive from our stillness is that we can hear eternity. We can hear the voice of the Eternal One as he speaks to our conscience. The Lord, my friend, bless you. Be still and know that God is God.